Hey there everybody, Manly Starman here. Welcome to part 22 of my Hunger Games series, the last regular episode, more on that at the end, where today we'll be looking at all of the champions and previous champions of the Pokemon series. However, there will be no Pokemon involved in this, it's just the humans themselves. Now, I say both regular champions and previous champions, but if they're still basically the champion of their game or the final boss, they also get included, which is why I could throw in Volo over here in District 4 with Cynthia, and other previous champions like Peony in District 6, and Mustard in District 8. Over here in District 7 and Gen 7, you see I went with just Kukui and Hao, because Sun and Moon has a bunch of potential challengers you can face as the champion in that game, but I just went with the two main ones. Also, to add more numbers to this game, here in District 10 I added Ronald from the Game Boy Color Pokemon trading card game, and also Glenn from Pokken Tournament. And lastly, over in District 11, Ash, since he's now officially a champion, and also Professor Oak, since I'm pretty sure basically everyone and their grandmother knows about how Professor Oak was planned to be a post-game fight after the champion and everything, so that's why he's here. As for my prediction who I think would win, I have to go with the classic, the OG Red, and while I'm at it, why not do his anime counterpart with Ash? But with all that out of the way, let us proceed to the bloodbath. As the tributes stand on their podiums, the horn sounds. And immediately, Trace kills Glenn with a hatchet. Trace, little baby boy from the Baby Let's Go games, beat this big jacked guy. Okay. Ronald takes a handful of throwing knives. See, that can be dangerous, because especially with that artist, the way he's holding his card, I totally believe he could set Okaiba throw his cards and do serious damage with them. So now that he actually has weapons to do that with, Ronald might be in it to win it. Ida runs because she sucks and everyone knows it. Blue runs. Red runs. Iris grabs a sword. Cynthia runs. Mustard runs. Diantha grabs a shovel. I guess she plans on burying the people she kills. Hal runs. Steven runs. Wallace grabs a sword. Alder runs into the cornucopia and hides. Volo runs. Ash breaks Oak's nose for a basket of bread. I guess that can work, because I guess technically this isn't Ash's version of Professor Oak, it's specifically Red's game version, so hey, he holds no allegiance to this guy. Kukui runs. Nimona finds a bow, some arrows, and a quiver. Peony finds a bag full of explosives. And Lance severely injures Leon, but puts him out of his misery. Oh wow. Day 1. Blue, Steven, Mustard, and Peony hunt for other tributes. Ash discovers a cave looking for some legendaries. Nimona thinks about home. Diantha searches for firewood. Kukui diverts Ronald's attention and runs away. Alder receives fresh food. Hao defeats Red in a fight, but spares his life. Iris sees smoke rising in the distance, but decides not to investigate. Wallace discovers a river. Sadly, I don't think you're gonna find any Goldeen in that river. Trace searches for a water source that Wallace just found. Volo tries to spearfish with a trident, probably at that same river. Ida constructs a shack. Lance and Oak split up to search for resources. And Cynthia questions her sanity. Only 2 cannon shots so far, but I honestly didn't think it would be Glenn and Leon first. Night 1. Wallace shoots an arrow at Volo, but misses and kills Lance instead. Oak looks at the night sky. Alder loses sight of where he is. Hal falls into a frozen lake and drowns. Steven destroys Ash's supplies while he is asleep. Diantha defeats Iris in a fight, but spares her life. Peony and Reg sleep in shifts. Ronald looks at the night sky, wondering what the hell he's doing here, as he just wanted to play a card game. Blue screams for help. Nimona cries herself to sleep. Kukui defeats Trace in a fight, but spares his life. Ida questions her sanity. Cynthia loses sight of where she is. And Mustard sets up camp for the night. Day 2. Kukui overhears Alder and Mustard talking in the distance. Steven tends to Wallace's wounds. Yeah, that makes sense. Gen 3 boys gotta stick together. Cynthia picks flowers. Nimona picks flowers. Red is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Diantha, Ash, Blue, and Peony hunt for other tributes. Oak receives medical supplies. Gita diverts Volo's attention and runs away. Trace receives medical supplies. Ronald goes hunting. And Iris sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. Another 2 cannon shots. Night 2. Oak tends to his wounds. Kukui attempts to start a fire but is unsuccessful. Peony destroys Cynthia's supplies while she is asleep. Nimona is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Red thinks about winning. Ash receives clean water. Gita forces Mustard to kill Wallace or Volo. He decides to kill Wallace. Iris stays awake all night. Blue climbs a tree to rest. Alder and Ronald tell stories about themselves to each other. Steven and Trace hold hands. And Diantha thinks about home. Day 3. Blue sprains his ankle while running away from Trace. Kukui receives medical supplies. Nimona, Peony, Iris, Red, and Gita hunt for other tributes. Ronald begs for Alder to kill him. He refuses, keeping Ronald alive. Mustard discovers a cave. Cynthia attacks Oak, but he manages to escape. Diantha continues to think about home. Steven and Volo split up to search for resources. And Ash can't handle the circumstances and commits suicide. Another 2 cannon shots. Night 3. Peony goes to sleep. Nimona continues to be unable to start a fire. Blue thinks about home. Alder is awoken by nightmares. Diantha tends to her wounds. Trace destroys Steven's supplies while he is asleep. Kukui lets Oak into his shelter. Makes sense, the professors working together. Cynthia receives clean water. Ronald convinces Red to snuggle with him. Gita climbs a tree to rest. Iris receives fresh food. And Volo convinces Mustard to not kill him, only to kill him instead. You gotta watch out for that crafty Volo. Honestly, he's probably the most evil person here now that I think about it. Day 4. Kukui begs for Nimona to kill him. She refuses, keeping Kukui alive. Alder is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Volo tries to sleep through the entire day. Red, Iris, and Cynthia unsuccessfully ambush Blue, Oak, and Steven, who kill them instead. Wow, both my picks got out pretty early. Ronald goes hunting. Peony chases Diantha. Gita receives fresh food. And Trace searches for firewood. 4 cannon shots now. Night 4. Ronald and Nimona talk about the tribute still alive. Peony passes out from exhaustion. Volo receives a hatchet. Trace goes to sleep. Blue tends to his wounds. Alder and Gita huddle for warmth. Steven looks at the night sky. Oak cries himself to sleep. Diantha loses sight of where she is. And Kukui is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Day 5. Trace, Diantha, Oak, Alder, and Blue hunt for other tributes. Volo and Ronald work together for the day. Peony and Kukui work together to drown Gita. And Steven attacks Nimona, but she manages to escape. Only a single cannon shot. Night 5. Alder thinks about winning. Peony lets Diantha into his shelter. Blue goes to sleep. Nimona pushes Steven off a cliff during a knife fight. Volo destroys Kukui's supplies while he is asleep. Ronald sets up camp for the night. Oak somehow climbs a tree to rest, I guess this old man still got it. And Trace dies of thirst. An event. The feast. The cornucopia is replenished with food, supplies, weapons, and memoirs from the tribute's families. Volo, Peony, Ronald, Diantha, Blue, Oak, Alder, and Kukui all decide not to go. And Nimona just dies of an infection anyway, so that event accomplished nothing. It was literally pointless. Day 6. Kukui makes a slingshot. Volo goes hunting. Blue travels to higher ground. Ronald receives an explosive. Peony diverts Diantha's attention and runs. And Oak diverts Alder's attention and runs. 3 cannon shots. Night 6. Oak receives a hatchet. Ronald and Diantha sleep in shifts. Alder kills Bolo as he tries to run. Good job, Alder. You took down the big bad of this tournament. Kukui tries to treat his infection. Peony does the same. And Blue is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. SMH people, learn your basic survival skills. Day 7. Oak tries to spearfish with a trident. Kukui searches for firewood. Diantha Trap kills Peony. Ronald pushes Blue off a cliff during a knife fight. And Alder fishes. 3 cannon shots. Night 7. And is this the... Yep, final 5. Kukui receives medical supplies. Ronald and Oak run into each other and decide to truce for the night. Diantha tries to sing herself to sleep. And Alder sees a fire but stays hidden. Day 8. Diantha kills Oak with a hatchet. Kukui discovers a cave. And Alder steals from Ronald while he isn't looking. Not his holographic first edition Charizard. 1 cannon shot. Night 8. Alder defeats Ronald in a fight, but spares his life. Diantha cooks her food before putting her fire out. And Kukui falls into a frozen lake and drowns. Day 9. And Ronald dies of dysentery. And Alder dies of dysentery. So, with 3 cannon shots, Diantha's the winner. Probably not anyone's first pick considering she's not the most popular champion around, but there you go. Hey, she still got 2 kills at least. A lot of people got kills this game, actually. Thank you all so much for watching. We're finally nearing the end of this series. As I said at the start of this episode and the end of the last episode, this is the last of these regular sort of setups for these videos. As for the penultimate episode, I will be taking the first person to lose from every game and giving them a second chance at redemption. So people like your boy Glenn down here will have a second chance at this game after being eliminated first. See you guys then.